conversation that that you shared about what's happening. Are we at war or not? Do we have one foot in or not? I liked it there. There was a pastor on Facebook that gave me some words to use to start. This is not the message, but these were words that I really felt I needed to say this morning. That there are people that are angry and scared and confused. It appears that a war has erupted and people are struggling to find their moral footing. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the peacekeepers, not the war makers, not the people who stay quiet to keep the powerful comfortable. Peacemaking is active. Peacemaking is courageous. Peacemaking is justice. Howard Zinn, the American historian, political scientist, and social activist, said, "There is no flag large enough to cover the shame of killing innocent people. You cannot justify the mass killing of people by simply calling them the enemy. They are human beings. When governments wage war, they turn living, breathing human beings into abstractions on a map. And once they're abstractions, it becomes easier to destroy them." People often misunderstand that peacekeeping is keeping things quiet. War making is using fear to justify violence. Peacemaking is telling the truth and protecting the vulnerable. Our Constitution requires congressional authorization for war. That didn't happen. This is about moral clarity, not politics. Families in Iran were waking to explosions yesterday. American soldiers are being sent into danger without a clear justification. The futures of children shrink because of decisions made far above them. Every civilian or soldier is someone's whole world. It makes me think of what you said about the man that has a family and 2 kids and what's going to happen. Fear is a tool of war makers. Love is the tool of peacemakers. This is a simple contrast. Fear escalates, love interrupts. To do peacemaking practices, things we can do are refuse dehumanizing language, like calling the enemy names, advocate for diplomacy, reject the idea that violence is the only way, speak truth in public, even when it feels risky. Peacemaking begins in our own communities. How we care for each other is how we resist the narratives of violence. Blessed are the peacemakers, not the ones who stay quiet, not the ones who cheer violence, the ones who choose compassion, justice, and courage in a world full of fear. Those are the peacemakers. May we all be peacemakers. Now, my intent this morning was to talk about prayer beads, so I'm going to do that now. I believe that to pray, is to have communion with God. It's communion that is heart to heart, mind to mind, soul to soul. Praying with beads is an ancient tradition that has been practiced by various cultures for centuries. Our prayer beads provide a tangible opportunity to grow in the depth of spiritual life that comes from seeking God. There are many Christians today that use prayer beads, similar to the Catholic rosaries. There are Protestant prayer beads, the Episcopals especially, which are very close to the Catholics. We used to make prayer beads out at the retreat center, and I'm going to show you some of those in a moment. The intent of using prayer beads is to focus the mind. It's for meditation, for structuring our prayer. It emphasizes a heartfelt, sincere communication with God instead of mindless recitation. I think about the Lord's Prayer. Many people say it just because they learned it, and they don't really think about the words. And yet, I'm aware of older folks who maybe don't even have strong language skills anymore that can recite the Lord's Prayer because they learned it so long ago and it's still in them, even if the words don't make don't have the sense of communication with God that it did at one time. So, prayer beads focus by keeping wandering minds on track during prayer. They serve as a physical reminder to pause and focus on what we're thinking about, our specific intentions, or maybe even scripture. Prayer beads give structure. They provide a rhythm, a guide for prayer, especially for longer periods or for daily devotionals. They're spiritual reminders. Holding them can be a tangible reminder of God's presence and love. They offer a way of being still and serve as a sign of God's presence with us. The Catholic Rosary has a formula for prayers to be said with each bead. The Protestant use of prayer beads doesn't. This means they can be used in any way that feels comfortable, and one can even experiment with different ways of using them, depending on the need at the time. Consider this a wonderful opportunity to explore new ways of being with God. I have 2 books, Praying with Sacred Beads and A String and a Prayer. This is more about how to make beads. This one gives specific prayer ideas for using beads. I'll get into that in a minute. Beads are physical. We can touch them, we can handle them, we can store them in a drawer or put them in a pocket. I have a friend that is a police officer in Wisconsin, and she came to the retreat center and made a prayer bead set that was about this big. It has a red, a white, and a blue bead. The red is for the fire department, the white is for the EMTs, and the blue is for the police. And she keeps it in her pocket and just, sticks her hand in her pocket to feel them and know that those beads are there, and that in her mind that's her way of praying for all of those different services. Physical things can remind us of people and events. We have heirlooms and treasures from the past. I brought my mother's piggy bank. She's got something in it. But that's something I can see and touch, and shake, and it reminds me of my mom. Physical things tie us to our roots, even when lots of things about the roots are forgotten. I have a mirror at home. I don't even know who it came from exactly, but it's come through the line of the family, and it's important to me because it's a piece of my roots. Beads remind us that we human beings are physical and that God loves physical things. We can use physical things to come closer to God and to one another. An example is a prayer shawl, and I brought one of my 2 prayer shawls. This was made by a friend of mine in Emporia, who has made over 2,000 prayer shawls and given them all away. She gave me a bunch when I was at the retreat center to give the people that came. She would take them to the local hospital. They would go through her church. The pastor would give them away. There were just lots of ways that she gave them. This reminds me of my friend, but I've also sat under this prayer shawl to pray, to cry, to laugh, a lot of different ways. Beads are good for those people that are kinesthetic, who need some way to help them keep focused during their prayer time. In addition to helping people keep their focus during prayer, prayer beads can also symbolize the commitment to prayer. We use the beads because we want to be in prayer. A circular set of beads might symbolize the everlasting ongoing love of God, while the string inside a set of beads can represent the interconnectedness of all of us who pray and the people that we pray for. I really found that idea of symbolism interesting myself. I want to share, this is the first set of prayer beads that I made. I did it out at Matfield Green before I had the retreat center anyway. The string has stretched. There were a group of women, lay and clergy, that came together, and we made the clay-colored beads. And these were Mexican beads that we were invited to include. But each one of these beads represents somebody in that group. These are the ones that I made. Jane made these, Mickey made these, Nancy made these, and I could go on around the circle. So one way I could use these would be, I could start or I could end with myself, saying prayers for myself, and then at the Mexican bead to just take a moment to pause, to rest, and not think about anything, but just be in God's presence. And then I could pray for Jane with the next bead. Or I could use them to pray in any other way I wanted to. That was one set I made. I made this set with a group of youth. And there, I brought some homemade beads and then some wooden beads as well. And each, this set of beads represents one particular student that they had all of these things to pray for. So they made a set of these to give each person to put on their prayer bead string. And then this is one I made, and then this is a resting prayer bead, and then this was a bead somebody else made. And so they all represent somebody. But again, I can use them in any way that's meaningful for me. And you know, right now I can't remember what group I made these with. But there are a lot of different ways and a lot of different uses for prayer beads. Some of the ways to use prayer beads would be to begin a new day, to just pick up prayer beads and to feel them, to let the fingers become awakened, touching the beads, and then set intentions for the day. And then maybe put the beads at the pocket or have them somewhere where we can see them so we can remember what our intentions are throughout the day. We can use beads as we walk around, and I've seen people take prayer beads and walk up and down their street, their block, and pray for different people in the houses using the prayer beads. It could be a grounding practice. Sometimes when we get caught up in what ifs or what could happen, we can use the beads to ground us so we can let go of the worries that go on in our mind. We can end the day with beads by picking up the beads and letting their texture resonate throughout our body. And as each bead passes through our fingers, we can let ourselves feel grateful for the day that went before us. It's important to recognize the pain that we might have caused or experienced. It's important to recognize the happy things that happened during the day, and the beads could help do that. I've had several opportunities to be with people that made a little set of prayer beads like this. I think there's 3, 6, 9, there's 10 on this one. I have sets with just 8 on them. But I'd have people make these and then we'd pray the rainbow. I'd invite people to pray for everything that they could think of that they liked or cared about that was red. And I had somebody say tomatoes. And somebody else said that red prom dress that I wore years ago. And then we'd go to the pink one and then the orange one and the yellow one. And throughout, and we'd pray the rainbow. We could pray names for God. We could bless those around us, naming names for each bead. We could pray for ourselves in every role that we see ourselves in. For myself, it would be mother, sister, pastor, a loving person, a generous person. We can pray for a personal situation, move to the next bead, and just rest for a few minutes, and then move on to the next bead. So there's a lot of different ways that beads can be used. I'm going to close this part of the message back with the Matthew 11 passage that I read, only this is from the Message. And it says, "Are you tired, worn out, burned out on religion? Come to me, get away with me, and you'll recover your life. I'll show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the unforced rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you'll learn to live freely and lightly." I thought that was beautiful. And I want to take a moment right now, a bunch of moments, for us to rest, to just rest, but have our hands busy doing something. I brought kits to to make prayer beads.
Oh,
And they're very simple. They're going to look like, let's see, 3, 6, 8, like this one. And you can either make a straight one, or I have a round one here somewhere. And tie it together like this. Or some other way that you want to. But I invite you to make a set of beads. And I have string. I put glue on the end of the twine, hoping it'll go through the holes. If there's anybody that has difficulty with the twine, I brought some floral wire that would be much skinnier that would go through it. I also brought some zip ties, but I don't know that those will go through those beads. I'm not sure. But I have those to help. I have scissors if we need to cut string. There's a little thing inside each packet that shows a possible order of the beads. You don't have to do it that way if you don't want to. And I brought a few more beads in case somebody wanted an extra green one, or 3 red ones, or blue ones, or a bigger one.
How do they stay on here? Do you have to tie it in?
You'll have to tie one end of it. Yeah, you want to just pass it around and...
I see that the knots are kind of right there. Do you put that knot on first?
Pardon?
Do you put the knot in first?
At one end, yeah.
Okay.
Or this way, where I tied it off at the end. I didn't put a knot.
Oh, I see, okay.
I made a circle.
the colors of these could be used as support for the LGBTQ community.
Certainly, certainly.
I like
Thank
that.
you to pass out some of my cakes. You're welcome.
Or the chakras.
Or the chakras,
You can
yes.
represent the chakras.
Yes.
Yeah, yellow, black.
The fruit of the spirit, I like that. This book, Praying with the Sacred Beads, I'll just read a few while you're working. Like one says, praying for, asking God to rescue with your almighty power those at this moment who are tempted to do serious wrong, who are victims of abuse, who are victims of addiction, victims of intolerable physical pain, victims of extreme poverty,
Where is it?
victims of devastating relationships, victims of unjust discrimination, victims of
Hand me
poor
yours.
parenting,
Oh.
victims of violent behavior, victims of anger against you, God. There's also a short 4-line prayer for each one of the 150 Psalms. So there's just so many ways that they can be used. Linda, do you need some help? Would you like some help?
Oh,
Are you
I've
good?
got yours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with mine or not. Did she give me
Yeah.
yours?
Now you can keep
Oh.
that one.
I'm going to ask you to
Okay.
go ahead and pass that around, just in case somebody wants an extra bead. Or I was looking for crosses, and I don't have any in my kit. I had hearts, but the twine wouldn't go through the opening for the heart, so
These are perfect.
thank you.
So did you fix the ends? of
I
it?
did.
What did you do to do that?
I had a glue stick, and I had a lid like this, and I just rubbed it, and then,
Yeah, because that really makes it easy. Yeah.
well, I knew that it would, because I've tried to do it without it.
Keep the string frame.
But I'm doing
Here's some.
18 for the other church too, so
My.
I had a lot of glue on my fingers last night. These are all things left over from the retreat center. I think. Tubs full of things.
So kind of you to bring this.
We're helping you to rid yourself of some of your stuff.
Well, that's one way to look at it, yes.
I like the idea of just a small thing like this to have in your pocket.
Yes, yes.
Because you can just, rub at it or something, and it just creates a connection,
Yes. Yeah.
and like kind of grounds you, like you said.
Mhm. Well, being tactile, something that you can touch.
Yeah.
Just reach in and touch your pocket when
Okay, good.
there might be something that's worrying or upsetting
I
or.
remember going to a Catholic church a time or two, and talking to Dad later, and I said, it's kind of nice that they have statues, because it's just something that you see, physical, that you
Mhm.
see,
Mhm.
We were cleaning out my mom's duplex, and there were several different pictures of Jesus.
I'm wanting to rescue you.
Of course, they all
Got it. I could see those beads going all
were
over the
white.
place. You've turned the camera off?
No, I think I will though.
Surprising with all
Okay.
you've done.